What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Salt and Popper video. This week we are going to take a look at the new mechanics and everything we know so far about March of the Machines. That's right, we're back in spoiler season again, and it's time to take a look at some of the new mechanics we have coming. So let's jump right in. First things first, taking a look at March of the Machines, we have a couple of returning mechanics, but first and foremost, we have flip cards making a return, or transform cards making a return. We've seen a few instances of this, but the big ones are going to be the new Praetor set. We're going to take a look at Elesh Norn here. This is a 4-drop 3/5 with Vigilance. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you or a permanent you control, the source's controller loses 2 life unless they pay 1. And you can sacrifice 3 other creatures to exile Elesh Norn and return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control, but you can only activate it as a sorcery. And so far, all of the transforms that I've seen, or these Praetor flips, are only at sorcery speed, but when you flip it, you get a saga. So when it enters and after your draw step, you add a lore counter and you perform the action based on the number of lore counters. So for the first lore counter, you incubate 5 times. Then you transform all incubator tokens. The second one, creatures you control get +1/+1 and double strike until end of turn. And lastly, destroy all other permanents except for artifacts, lands, and Phyrexians. And then you exile the saga and flip it back over to Elesh Norn to repeat the process. This mechanic is obviously very cool. It's very strong. And the fact that it is repetitive is really cool, but keep in mind that while they are in their saga form, they are enchantments and prone to removal. So far, we haven't seen any of these type of effects at the common level, at least not from this set. We did get some common flip sagas back in Neo, but so far nothing at the common level has been spoiled yet. We'll wait to see what we get as far as common support for this type of effect. Secondarily, we have another sort of transform, which is the legendary creatures transforming with Phyrexian costs. So for this example, we're going to take a look at Heliod, the Radiant Dawn. This is a 4/4 for 2 and 2 white legendary enchantment creature god. When it enters the battlefield, you return target enchantment card that isn't a god from your graveyard to your hand. I'm not sure why they had to add that caveat, but oh well. And then you can pay 3 and a Phyrexian blue to transform, but only at a sorcery. This flips to Heliod, the Warped Eclipse. It's a legendary enchantment creature, Phyrexian god. And it's a 4/6 that says you may cast spells as though they had flash, and spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each card your opponent has drawn this turn. Keep in mind it does say for each card your opponents have drawn this turn, so in multiplayer games that can be a pretty big discount with things like each player draws a card effects. Ultimately, same for the Praetor saga. The legendary flips have been so far restricted to legendary creatures. No word or spoilers yet on whether or not that's going to end up in Popper, but we will keep an eye out. Just be aware that both of these transform mechanics happen only at sorcery speed. And at one form or another, both of these end up as enchantments. So keep in mind that that is a potential vulnerability to these cards. Next up, our first new mechanic of March of the Machines, hinted at in the Elesh Norn card, is Incubate. We're going to take a look at an example of that with Traumatic Revelation. This is a sorcery for 2 mana. Target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a creature or battle card from it, and we will look at battles in just a moment. If you do, that player discards this card. If you don't, incubate 3. And this allows you to create an incubator token with 3 1/1 counters on it and pay 2 mana, transform this artifact. So essentially this allows you to have a artifact token with 3 1/1 counters on it that once you pay mana, you flip it over and it becomes an artifact creature Phyrexian. Now, unlike the other transforms, this is not at sorcery speed only, and this does look like it will have Popper support. So keep in mind that you will be seeing these occasionally if we get a couple of good ones. And it is instant speed, so be aware that is a potential combat trick to run into. The next ability we're going to take a look at is Backup. It's worded in such a way that it looks like it can be Backup X, but we've only gotten 2 examples, and both of them were Backup 1. We're going to take a look at the Archpriest of Shadows for this example. Another ability that we have not seen spoiled for Pauper yet, but we'll keep an eye out to see if we're going to get it. This is a 5 mana, 3 and 2 black human warlock that is a 4/4, and it has Death Touch, and whenever this deals combat damage to a player or battle, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now, Backup says whenever this creature enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. If it's another creature, it gains the following abilities until end of turn. That includes the rest of the text box, Death Touch, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or battle, return a creature from the graveyard to the battlefield. So this is an incredibly powerful mechanic that essentially gives haste to the abilities of a creature if you have another creature on the board that can attack. So really cool mechanic. It allows you to get kind of a temporary hit or a temporary upside on another creature to give it some keywords momentarily. Very, very strong mechanic. Yet to see, like I mentioned, if we'll get that in Pauper. But we will keep an eye out as spoiler season continues. And last but not least, we have battles. What the heck are they? They were first previewed in the Atraxa from the last set, and we have finally gotten them. Battles are a new card type in March of the Machines, and when you play them, they interplay and have some sort of effect. We're going to take a look at Invasion of Dominaria as an example. So you're going to play a Battle Siege. This is a new card type. For 3 mana, when it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life and draw a card. Now, sieges are a specific type of battle, and when it enters to play, you choose an opponent to protect it. And then you and others can attack it, and when it's defeated, exile it, then cast it transformed. So in this case, Invasion of Dominaria has 5 health, and it is essentially a planeswalker that you are giving to your opponent that you get a benefit from when you kill it. So in this case, you would have to attack it for 5, and if 5 damage gets through, you would defeat it, and then cast it transformed. And in this case, you would get a 4/4 flying vigilance creature. Now keep in mind, these are casted, so they can still be countered. We're waiting to see the official ruling on the CMC of the casted card, but I would wager it's a CMC of 0, although there are some speculations that it will be the CMC of the cost of the battle. Since it's a brand new card type, we'll hold off speculation and just wait for the rules update documents. But that's it for this week, guys. I hope you're excited about March of the Machines. The spoilers have been crazy. We haven't seen a common battle yet, but obviously we're keeping an eye out to see if those are going to make it into the Pauper format. Really excited about some of these new mechanics. Battles and incubators seem quite good. I will actually be out at the Oakland Magic Experience hosted by Laughing Dragons this weekend, March 31st to April 2nd. So anyone native to the San Francisco or Oakland area, or if you're just going to be in town for the event, definitely keep an eye out. I'll be hosting cube drafts. You can hit me up on Twitter. I'm more than happy to meet up, and I will be giving out copies of our custom tokens to anyone who comes up and says hi. So hope to see some of you guys there. And we will see what we can play with and what we get our hands on for the Pauper format. So as usual, guys, thank you so much for sticking along. I hope you're excited about this new set like I am. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. And if you have a favorite card from the spoil season so far, go ahead and drop it down in the comments. And let's start talking about what we're excited to build with and excited to play with out of March of the Machines. So thank you so much, guys. As usual, bye forever, unless I see you next time. Peace out.